I think what you hit on is really important, is that you kind of have to, as a business, understand, what is my role in this whole thing? Am I very closely tied to the economic downturn in that I power businesses? Am I very closely tied to the healthcare industry? Or am I far away from that? And the interesting thing about this is your content strategy can shift based on that. So one of the more interesting things that I read is, if you take NPR, right? They are seeing uneven, like their changes in podcast listenership have been really uneven. There are two areas where podcast listenership has gone through the roof. One is very obviously Corona related, crisis related content, their news shows, all that. But the other is like Tiny Desk, their music show. And I think Tiny Desk saw like 120% increase week over week in listenership. And some of their like lighter programming has seen huge lifts. And that's because people need a break. They need levity. They need space from this. And so you may be sitting listening to this conversation thinking like, okay, this is great, but my business has nothing to do with healthcare. My business has nothing to do with helping small businesses through this economic downturn. I make widgets and I can't sell them right now. There should be a moment of evaluation that you do of a business to say, what role can I have in this? What need can I address? And your content strategy can match that. So I think that's a really nuanced point, Lee, that you laid out, and wanted to follow up there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Everyone's trying to strike this balance between your own efforts and what everyone else wants, and hopefully that all falls in line. And that example that you provided, Lee, was just such a perfect fit for a time like this. And when you can identify that opportunity, going back to basics and simply showcasing people that are benefiting from your product, that's a very beautiful thing. And it's also very cost effective, I would assume. But I think a lot of brands are struggling to identify content opportunities. I personally am of the persuasion that it's not right for every sector to try to make a content pivot for the coronavirus pandemic, because just some sectors, the best you can do is tell people, hey, we're on pause right now. But have any of you found an approach to helping your clients with content marketing campaigns? Have you laid out the groundwork or a framework for something that you found has worked to help to identify opportunities?
As thoughtful and authentic as we need to be about how we approach content in this situation, in this environment, the demand for knowledge and information about solutions that companies are offering hasn't gone away. It's certainly changed. And Meghan mentioned this spike in search traffic that she's experiencing, and I know we've seen this a lot too. So the opportunity identified is using search data to understand that there is an increased demand via search for certain types of products and solutions. So making sure to shore up the SEO efforts in those areas. We should be doing this anyway, right? Always on optimization. Of course, we know that's not always the case because of resources or whatever, but now is a great opportunity for especially that kind of opportunism, because it can generate return immediately. You know what I mean? Depending on what your starting point is, right? If you have an authoritative site and you add content, obviously it's going to get crawled right away. So if you can identify that demand, like a good SEO practice would, I think that's something that we've seen work, and because of being in tech and because of offering the kinds of because of clients that offer the kinds of digital solutions that are timely right now, they're seeing a positive impact. Again, if you make widgets, like Meghan said, maybe not, but maybe it's looking for information, right?
I agree that some people it's not right for a brand to talk about COVID-19 necessarily if they have nothing to do with it. But what I encourage people to do, our clients, anybody really, is if you're thinking about something new to create, this is an opportunity in your brainstorming for ideas to not just, I think it's easy to get stuck on the pandemic. Obviously, it's a huge issue, but how it's impacting day-to-day lives ties a lot to different businesses. So even in the widget perspective, it could be something related to how people, I was using, I was writing a post for Moz using the new the exploding topics backlinko tool. And one of the things I was finding was the different software that is about efficiency or like do it yourself has gotten much trendier now. Probably the sad reality is that people are downsizing and they have to try to make it work. So you have these like completely other very human emotions going on, even separate from health and my family, if it's their work or their, their livelihoods. And there's a lot of aspects to that that we have to explore for our audience. So in that case, it's I have to continue doing my job at my company, or I have a company and I have to keep, everybody, the work going, our clients and customers happy. Like, how do I do that now? You have to ask yourself if you fit into that equation. If you haven't, can you? And what can you, this kind of harkens back a bit to what Meghan was saying earlier too. So that's what I'm encouraging people to do, is to take that time to assess, like, what are the emotions being associated with here in just like the smaller struggles happening. Any kind of pain point you can alleviate at this point is much appreciated. And that could be a design tool that's free and you can give to your whole team right now.